everyone, it's Julia. I wanted just to take a moment to come on and just kind of talk about me being missing in action for the last month or so. You know, at the beginning of the year I had plans of, just how you plan your year and you had set your goals, and I was going to do YouTube weekly and I was going to eliminate craft shows and just spend more time in my Etsy store. And yeah, well, life happens, right? And I ended up having to add a bunch of fall shows. And so I have been working, well, I'm going to insert a picture of what my sewing table looked like last week. Yeah, my husband called it my leaning tower of sweatshirts. And so this video, I thought I'm not going to go into details, and everything is fine and we're fine, and you just have to be flexible, especially I think as women, we just have to be flexible. And so I thought I'm going to show you what I've been working on this fall, show you my fall lineup, my sweatshirts, and what I'm doing with them, and some of my sweatshirt accessories too that I've been working on. I've noticed that even women my age have been wearing more leggings, more skinny jeans, and so this year all my sweatshirts are more of like a tunic length and to kind of cover up a little bit more, and they've been really popular. I did one show, almost completely sold out, and that just is a really good indication to me that I'm on the right track. And so anyway, I hope you enjoy this. I am just going to show you several different designs and do a little explaining, a little bit of a tutorial in here, but mainly it's just going to be a show and tell video. I hope you enjoy it. Thanks so much. Here's the first one that I wanted to show you. This is one of my new designs, and it is one of my tunic sweatshirts. Also kind of showing you some of my accessories. I have the patchwork scarf made with a little copper pipe that I got from the hardware store. And also I am doing newsboy hats made completely from sweatshirts. One of the features on the sweatshirt itself, I'm going to zoom in here a little bit, is the pocket is actually from the bottom of the cuffs, serged around the edge. I leave the bottom band on the sweatshirt, but I cut an opening on the side about 4 or 5 inches, and I serge all the way around the bottom. I'm going to walk in just a little bit here so you can kind of see a close-up of that. When I do this, I actually start my serging right up here, kind of hiding right at the seam or right before the seam, and then I go all the way around the bottom, back up the other vent, and around the back side of the band. And it kind of really gives it a nice finished look, and it hides all those serger tails really nicely. Also, the pocket is completely serged around, and again made from the cuffs, and you can kind of tell that it does have that folded part where the cuff folds. And the top of it is just a cuff that is folded, so it's real finished off. The design itself, kind of a patchwork look, and every one of them is a little bit different. I do add some vintage lace to it. This one I actually added some words. I love using just the salvage part of the fabric. Just kind of add some whimsy to it. I'm going to show you this design under my sewing machine and how I stitch that on. Here's a close-up of one of the patchwork designs. I don't have the stitching on this yet, and I'll be taking it over to my sewing machine and showing you how I'm stitching these on. But I'm using a lot of just different colors, patterns, really things that I've had, and also things that really you wouldn't really normally put together, but for some reason it just kind of works when you're doing these patchwork kind of looking sweatshirts. I did stamp using a stamp pad that is permanent, this little stamp that says follow your passion, and I thought it was just kind of another little element in with the sweatshirt. Another thing that I found at my local antique mall are these, can you believe this? Look at this. I mean, I don't know how many gajillions of yards of this vintage lace is on here, and look how cool this is. So I can actually cut just individual little pieces of it to put on whatever project I'm working on. I purchased this one. It was $20, $19.95 for this massive roll. And then this one was $10, and this is just like a real delicate, reminds me of tatting a little bit. I love it. So yeah, 2 big rolls. I think I'm going back for more just because it's just so incredible. But I was able to add just 3 of the little flowers. And to put this on, like this hasn't been stitched at all yet, like I mentioned, but I use a fabric glue stick, and I'll link this down below. It's water soluble. It does not gum up your sewing machine at all, and I'm able to stick, you know, little things on. I love it for lace. I love it for adding yo-yos, just to keep it in place before you go under your sewing machine. And the rest of this is on using, I just sprayed the other patches using my temporary 505 spray, and that's repositionable. So if you don't exactly like how you laid it out, you can kind of take it off and reposition it. And so I'm going to set up at my sewing machine. I'm going to show you kind of the free motion that I'm doing on these. I love adding a lot of stitches to these, just kind of adding some meander stitches off on the sides. So you'll kind of see that, some like loopy kind of designs, and I go around each one of these patches many times, so it kind of looks like a sketched on kind of a real organic look. So I hope you enjoy this part of it. I'm going to be setting up at my sewing machine. I have my sweatshirt underneath my sewing machine, and I did put a piece of tearaway a stabilizer underneath my work just to give it a little bit extra, because I am going to be using some stitching off of the patches and on just directly onto the sweatshirt itself, and you'll see what I mean as I go along. Now I am doing this free motion, so I have my feed dogs dropped, and I have my embroidery foot on. Sometimes they're called like a darning foot, but that is what's the foot that I'm using. So I'm going to be doing the motion on this and the moving of the fabric, because my feed dogs will be dropped. I do have like a cream colored thread on the top so that you can kind of see the stitches quite well on this sweatshirt. So I'm lowering my feed dogs, and here we go. Like about this year's designs are each one is a little bit different, and I'm not worrying about that. Even when I put them on my Etsy store, I am just kind of mentioning in the description that the placement and the layout of the design might be a little different, and that kind of goes with the scarves also. This particular scarf does have the same fabrics as the little design of the sweatshirt, but I also used some of the cuffs and of the bands from other sweatshirts in the cuff. And then the little pipe, this is just a fun feature. And again, I just picked these up at the hardware store. They're like some kind of copper pipe fitting. And I do let my customers know that this is probably going to patina because it is copper. so they can either shine it up or just kind of leave it go. But it really adds for a nice accessory, and it's so easy to wear. You just kind of put it on. You don't have to really think about it. It's just knotted at the bottom and it just stays knotted. So it just goes over the head. Another fun thing this year, I'm going up here, are my hats. Now these hats are unlined. I do use a little bit of fusible foam for the brim, so it stands out nice and is a nice finish to it. I add one of my flower pins, and those can be taken off or interchanged. And the whole thing is serged on the inside, but like I said, it is unlined. These are so nice for up here in Minnesota for fall or winter, because you can actually pull the band completely over your ears for warmth. But it just makes up for a real nice little hat. On top I do have like a button machine, so I do use I add a little button that is pinned on. So that's what my hats look like. Here's another one of my tunic sweatshirt designs. This one I cut the bottom band off, but I add a patchwork strip around the bottom. The design on this one's a little bit simpler because I do have so much color going on in it down below. And I have an asymmetrically cut neckline on this with just a little bit of trim. And again, the same patchwork scarf, that accessory that can be added. Again, I cut 5 inches or so up on the bottom band. I cut the bottom band off, but cut that on the side seams to give it a little bit more, just a little bit more room on the bottom. And started my serger at the top, went all the way down, all the way around, and back up around the back side of it. So the bottom is all serged and everything's finished off. And also to the same pocket that came from the cuffs. I'm going to show you the neckline on this one. It's asymmetrically cut. That's kind of what it looks like from a little bit of a distance there. And then another thing that I'm making a lot of this year are my unlined mittens made completely from sweatshirts. This is what they look like. The cuff on them is actually the cuff from another sweatshirt, so it's just a really nice cuff with a lot of structure to it. And like I said, I use 3 different colors, and they are unlined. Really fun, really great for like a kind of like an in-between season, which like this weekend I have an outside show and it's supposed to rain and be 50. So I think I'm going to be wearing my little mittens sweatshirt that I've been working on. And this is my alternative sweatshirt. It's a raglan sleeve sweatshirt, and it's a tri-blend, and it has almost a feel of a sweater. And they turned out so cute in these longer tunic. I mean, I can just see somebody wearing this with a black pair of leggings or skinny jeans and really just super comfortable look. And it's casual. I did do a little bit more of a traditional design on it, more of a classic design on it with the reds and the blacks and a little bit of a khaki color. I thought you could wear it with khaki jeans really nicely also. This particular sweatshirt comes in 4 colors. It comes in like a red, a navy, and a black, and they all kind of have a gray undertone to them, or like just like a real gray nub to them. I'm going to again kind of show you very similar to the other ones. Where I have cut up the side seam, which gives it that open, comfortable bottom. Serged all the way around, and then added the pocket from the cuffs. And just a little bit of the design. Basically just 4 different colors, 4 different squares, and I added a button from my stash. The neckline on this one, I just cut down in the center front and folded back and stitched. And this is what the scarf looks like for this one. I used basically just the bottom of the cuffs and the band from other sweatshirts, and kind of again did another little patchwork type look, again with a little copper pipe fitting. The last sweatshirt I wanted to share with you today is my sweatshirt jacket this season. Kind of similar to the tunic sweatshirts in that I left the bottom band on, cut open on the sides, and serged all the way around. The cuff also turns into the pocket. Again, kind of a close-up of the bottom edge and the pocket. I added, again, vintage lace and the patchwork. This one also has a little bit of paint on it, a little bit of stencil. The top of this one is, I left the neckband on, and it's just kind of open. There's no buttons on it. It's just kind of worn more like a cardigan. When I started to serge this, I serged from the very top, went all the way down, all the way around, and all the way back up. And one more accessory I wanted to share with you are my fingerless mittens. They are made from 4 different cuffs, and I use 4 different colors, and they do have a thumb hole. I'm going to just kind of put one on so you can they kind of look strange hanging. And honestly, I have a little bit of a trouble with them hanging in my booth too. People are pretty inquisitive, like, what are these things? And when you put them on, they turn into just a really fun little accessory. So I'm going to stick one on, and you can kind of see what I'm talking about. This is what they look like on. I really enjoy wearing these when I'm grocery shopping and pushing a shopping cart. It just kind of keeps your hands free from not having to touch the cart, but then you can still pick up things that you need. I like driving with them, and a lot of people who work in like cool areas really like wearing them to work. The thumb hole is serged. You can see that they're just made from cuffs. The top cuff is folded back. There is definitely a left and a right because of the thumb hole, and so I add the little embellishment right on the top. Thank you everybody for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I know it's a little bit different, but I wanted to share what I've been working on, and I hope it gave you some ideas. Happy sewing. Bye for now.